Welcome into episode number 6 of the Sideline Sports Show here with Ben and Tim. Tim, I got to start off with something. Tim doesn't know I'm doing this. But ladies and gentlemen, high school football is back. Finally. Thank goodness. Yeah. Thank goodness.
Football
We're back
in general, man.
Yes.
I mean, you have preseason games on with the NFL as well. I mean, those don't really count as real football, to be honest with you. A lot of the starters aren't playing. But overall, again, I saw something. We are not going to have any more Sundays without football.
I know.
After
Oh my gosh. It is so exciting. Just to hear the music again is fantastic. The marching band music, as always, is just incredible to hear. I mean, what else do you want to hear? I mean, let's be real. It's so good to be back in the presence of football again. So, Tim, let's go ahead and talk about it. As you know, if you've been watching the past couple episodes, we're on a series where we're breaking down each and every single conference, and today we will break down the Big Ten. Let's start with the East. As always, where the most favorable names of the Big Ten are in there: Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland, Indiana, and the bottom Packers of Rutgers. So, Tim.
I remember we talked about them, I think, last week when we were talking about Kansas and Rutgers playing. But yeah, I think it would be no surprise. Now, Graciano is still the head coach there, right? I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I think he is. I mean, we don't
know. I mean,
yeah, who cares about Rutgers football? I think they're going to be better, but I don't think they're going to be better.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
For real. I get it. I understand. All right, so Tim, top or bottom? Should we start from the top? Should we start?
Let's go bottom. I think we can make things interesting, and I want you to go first.
Okay. Obviously, we've already mentioned it. We're going Rutgers. I mean, it's just like we mentioned with Kansas last week. What's exciting about Rutgers football, other than their uniforms that actually look pretty decent? I'll give Rutgers the point for good uniforms, but other than that, I can't do much more for you, Rutgers. So I'm going to put them at my bottom seed as my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seed in the East.
Yeah, I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them there at 7 as well. Again, Graciano, he did some good things for Rutgers back when he was the head coach. What, a decade or so ago now?
Something like that.
Yeah, he did some really good things there. They had actually had some really good teams. So he's got the chance, but in this division, which is definitely without a doubt the hardest division in the Big Ten, I don't have any confidence in them, at least this year.
Me either. All right, so my 6th team is going to be Michigan State. I just haven't seen anything from Michigan State in the past couple of years. That they struggled last year. They struggled the year before that. I just don't see much out of them this year either coming in. So I'm going to put them at my 6th seed for the East.
This is where I also have Michigan. Just Michigan
State. Michigan State. Oh, okay.
Okay. I think Michigan's going to be down there at the bottom at the 6th spot. I don't like. Again, they've digressed almost every year under Harbaugh. Can you tell I don't like Mr. Khaki Pants?
No one likes Mr. Khaki Pants.
Yeah. Sign me up for that group.
Except State Farm. State Farm loves that man.
That's true. Yeah, they somehow think he's brandable. But yeah, not a big fan of Michigan. I had them actually being second to last. They've slowly digressed, and last year just showed that the Harbaugh is just his time in Ann Arbor is limited for sure.
And they don't have that old transfer from Ole Miss anymore, if I'm right.
Shea Patterson.
Yeah, Patterson. Yeah, so they don't have him anymore either. So they're going to go to a new quarterback this year.
And he was interesting too because at Ole Miss, he thrived. I mean, he was throwing the ball all over the yard, and then went up to Michigan and played in Harbaugh's offense, and just absolutely underwhelmed.
Yeah, it was weird. It was just like he gained a lot of weight. I don't know if you realized that at Michigan. He gained at least, I think, 30, 40 pounds being up at Michigan. Because I think when he started at Ole Miss, he was 220. I think when he left Michigan, he was 250, if I'm right. I could be wrong. I could
I,
go back and look
I'm
at that
not very.
stat.
I'm not talking about people's weight like that, but
Yeah.
like I know 250 is not good for a quarterback. I
Yeah.
remember there was a guy at Kentucky, 2 decades ago now, that was like 300 something pounds, but he was actually a really good quarterback. I
Yeah.
forget his name, but there was a guy in Kentucky that was like 300 pounds and was actually good quarterbacks, and he was
Yeah.
actually kind of mobile too. That was what the surprising thing was.
Yeah.
I
And I
forget his
think
name.
I think that's what affected Shea Patterson and the offense as well going forward is Michigan was more of a passing offense than it was kind of a spread. And Shea Patterson at Ole Miss, he was used to throwing the ball, but he also had the chance at Ole Miss to be a mobile quarterback. In Michigan, the only time he was a mobile quarterback was when he had to get out of the pocket because his offensive line collapsed. So,
Right.
I don't know. I think I do agree, but that is my fifth seed in the East. I had Michigan. I just I think this may be Harbaugh's last year. Well, then again, he did sign a contract extension, so let's be clear on that. But
I think that just made the buyout smaller.
yeah,
I could be I could be wrong, but I think that just made the buyout smaller. I think.
exactly. And so I think if he doesn't have a good year this year, I think they're probably going to buy out his contract and look for something else because they haven't been competitive in a very long time against their rival Ohio State. I don't even think Jim Harbaugh, if I'm correct, and I could go back and look at this, has beaten Ohio State since he's been there. And I mean, he's had a couple of close calls, but there's that one year where he lost in double overtime. But other than that, I mean, you just haven't competed against Ohio State and at least played in the Big Ten championship yet. And that's what they brought him in to do, and he's yet to do that. So I have him at my 5 spot for the East.
And without a doubt, if he finishes in either spot, like you have him at 5, I have Michigan finishing at 6 in their own division.
Yeah,
There's no way he survives this. There's
exactly.
just no way because you cannot afford finishing behind Michigan State, who's been in the absolute gutter ever since they made the
Right.
playoffs. Maryland, for crying out loud, and then Indiana, and those teams like that. You cannot finish below those teams in your own division. It's not going to happen, especially being paid the money that they're paying him, to coach that team. So again, if he finishes even close, even if he finishes 4th, there's a good chance that he'll probably be canned or be bought out. So,
yeah,
but yeah, coming at the 5 spot, I have Michigan State. Again, we talked about them. Ever since they made the playoffs a few years ago, they just have not been the same.
I agree.
I don't have any faith in them, and I think their defense has been really good, honestly, the last couple of years. It's just their offense. Man, I can tell you, I think Hart County over there in Hartwell, Georgia, has a better offense than they do. I'll be honest with you, man. It's crazy. But coming in at the 5 spot at Michigan State, just because I think they're going to beat Michigan, because they always seem to do. Didn't they beat them last year? I believe it was. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I don't like Michigan State, and until their offense shows me something, I think they're going to stay in the bottom half of their division.
My next team is a team that you just mentioned. I have Maryland at my 4. I like Tagovailoa as their quarterback. It makes their offense look so much better when he's under center. And I just think this could be a year where he can thrive in the Maryland offense since he's already had that year. I know it was a COVID year, but, he's had a year to thrive in that offense. And I think that gives him a little bit more experience going into year 2 for Maryland. So I got them at my 4.
I also have Maryland at my 4. Again, I'm a big fan of Tagovailoa. I think he's going to do a good enough job for them to be middle of the pack, literally coming at the 4 spot in the East. Maryland has shown flashes. I mean, that they've beaten Texas twice in the last 2 years that they were allowed to play non-conference games, and so I don't. They seem to take steps forward. And the other year, a couple years ago, they lost to Ohio State because they tried to go for 2, and a shootout was like 52-51 or something like that. It was a crazy game. And so Maryland's shown that their offense and that they can come together as a team and have great performances. But then again, they'll have games where, like they had against Penn State last year, and get absolutely just obliterated and run off the football field. So it's more so about, can Maryland show some consistency? I, I think they'll be more kind of the same. I think they'll be a little bit better than what they were last year, but I still I can't put them up over the top three of the Buckeyes, Hoosiers, or Nittany Lions.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to do that quite yet.
Yeah. And these next two, I kind of had a tough time placing these two, but I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go Indiana at 3. I loved the way they played last year. And I think that they're bound to have another big year this year. They honestly could finish first in this division if they played the way they did last year. I think they have a really good team coming back. Their quarterback comes back this year. But right now, I can't. My heart can't put them over Penn State and Ohio State just yet. So I'm going to put them at my 3.
Yeah, I'm going Penn State at 3. Again, Nittany Lions had a horrible start to the year last year. Was it 0-5 before they finally beat Michigan?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was a really rough start. They're not that bad. They're not that bad, and I think they have a rebound this year. This I wouldn't non-COVID year, and we're still having to deal with the Delta variant and everything that's come across. So hopefully, that won't affect college football too much. But yeah, I think Penn State bounces back. Having a normal year, normal practices. I think Coach Franklin and staff bounce back and have somewhat of a decent year, and I think they finish top 3. But man, I can't put them over the Hoosiers because I like Penix Jr. of Indiana. I think he's a great quarterback. It'd be interesting to see what he looks like when he comes back from injury because he tore his ACL last year. But what we saw with him in a
explosive
was amazing. I mean,
it was incredible.
Everyone remembers that the first game of the season against Penn State when he launched that 2-point conversion, went crazy and almost led them to come all the way back against Ohio State. So again, there's a lot of glimpses and there's hope there. So for Indiana, which is why I put them at the 2 spot and I have Penn State at the 3. I think that there's just a little bit more faith for me, at least, to have Indiana at 2 and Penn State at 3.
Gotcha. And then I'll go ahead and give my last 2. I got Penn State at my 2, obviously, but then I got Ohio State at my 1. C.J. Stroud is going to be a good quarterback for Ohio State. I'm just going to go ahead and call it now. I just love – he looks a lot like Justin Fields, but he looks a little bit slimmer. And like I said, we don't want to talk too much about weight, but, he looks a lot more mobile in the pocket than Justin Fields did. And I think maybe that played with Justin Fields' ACL injury. I'm not sure, but, you just got to think. But I like C.J. Stroud. I think he'll be a great quarterback for Ohio State. They still got a lot of great wide receivers. They still got a good defense. So I can't – if out of any of these teams, this was the one that solidified its first place spot for me. So I got Ohio State at my 1 and Penn State at my 2.
Yeah, I have Ohio State there as well. Obviously, replacing their quarterback with Justin Fields being a first-round selection of the Chicago Bears. Gonna have to fill that hole that they have. That's the biggest question to me. Again, Ohio State, I don't think they'll have any problem. Kind of like Alabama. Their quarterback's going to be good. Their quarterback's going to be good. It's like the Alabamas, the Clemsons, and the Ohio States. No matter who they put, no matter who they lose, they always seem to regroup and be stronger the next year. And I think Ohio State's going to do that. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see when they come out and play Oregon in the non-conference. But I think we'll get a kind of a gauge of what the season's going to look like for the Buckeyes. But again, I expect nothing less than them have a chance to go undefeated in conference play, even with. And the Indiana game that could be interesting because I believe that would be in Hoosier territory. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that could be a tough game. And I don't really see them slipping up to anyone else. I think they're going to get Penn State at home. And I like the Buckeyes this year, man. I do, and I really truly when I say that, I like Ryan Day. He's shown me a lot. He's shown the ability to go out and recruit guys, get guys, and just go out and get talent. And I like Ohio State, and I think that they're going to maintain their dominance in the East.
Awesome. Well, that is the East. When we come back after the short break, We will break down the West for you. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back into the second segment of episode number 6 of the Sideline Sports Show. We're breaking down the Big Ten today. We already did the East. Now let's go to the West. Let's start from the top. Tim, who do you got winning the West this year for the Big Ten?
Now I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say this because this is a division in which Northwestern and Wisconsin have won in recent memory. I'm actually going to take things back, and I'm going to pick Iowa. I'm going to go with Iowa.
Okay.
I love the run game. I think that the way that they play in that division, I think this is their year. And this, it's almost like it's not quite as crazy as the Coastal in the ACC, but it's pretty close. And really and truly, it's like whoever comes out of this one, this West region, is going to lose to Ohio State in the Big 12 and Big 10 title game. So, anyway, I like Iowa. I like the way that they play the game, and they're just so sound defensively. They always are. Now, offensively, that's a big question mark. If they're able to run the football effectively, they're able to play position on the field, kind of flip the field. I think that they're going to beat a lot of teams, and if they can't, they won't. I think that it's honestly plain and dry, or simple for Iowa. I think that they need to be able to control the field, which I think they will. And I think this is one of those years that Iowa has a really good year, and they win a lot of close games. And I think with their game against Wisconsin is going to be no exception. So I think Iowa is going to come out of that West, and they're going to face Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game.
See, I'm going to pull the same thing you said. Not so fast. And I say this because of this. I love Iowa. I love Iowa. And I love their quarterback. They always have a good quarterback every year, somehow, some way. And I'm not saying a fantastic quarterback like Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama. I'm saying they always have a good quarterback that always knows how to run this system that Iowa has built for years and years and years, which is basically – you're going to hand the football off or you're going to throw it. Like the quarterback's not going to run this football at all. Like that's how Iowa runs their offense. But I look at a team in this division, every team really, and it's like you said, it reminds me so much of the Coastal, but in the ACC. But I have Wisconsin at my one. There's so many quarterbacks last year that showed so much potential in Wisconsin's offense, but one particularly stood out to me the most, and that was Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz only played, I think, like 2 or 3 games and then was COVID and injury the rest of the year. So he didn't get to really play but 2 or 3 games. But the games that he did play blew my mind away. And I just love how he can make this offense something that it hasn't been in a very long time for Wisconsin. So I'm going to put Wisconsin at my one.
And that's interesting. The only rebuttal I would have to that would be we don't really know what he would do against the high competition because games in which he played, I don't even know who he played. I remember the first game at least was against one of the bottom feeders in the Big Ten. That's the only question mark that I would have for Mr. Graham Mertz. Now, you're right. What we saw from him was absolutely fantastic and gave Badger fans something to hope for and look, hey, this could be useful. This could be the quarterback of the future. Now, again, one of the players that could help and benefit from being out of the COVID era, just because no more COVID testing. Well, not if the Delta variant has anything to say about that, but again have 11, 12 game season. Maybe 13 if they're lucky. and be able to get an interesting sample size as long as he can stay healthy. Wisconsin definitely is going to be a force to be reckoned with. But again, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like when he goes up against competition and the defenses like Northwestern and Iowa.
Now, the teams that he did play against last year, this is based off Google, okay? South Florida, Central Michigan, and Michigan. Those were the only 3 games that he got to play. And then he was COVID ruled out and then got injured in practice, I assume, before he could even play another snap. But the Rose Bowl, I don't think, if I'm correct, I don't think he played the Rose Bowl. But I mean, even if he did, I like I said, don't remember. They only lost by 1. So to show that competitive competition against a team like Oregon, who was okay in the Pac-12, and we'll get to them next week, just, it shows what Wisconsin can do against a high-powered offense in Oregon. So, but to continue my list, I have your guys up front in second place, Iowa at my 2. It's like you said, they always have. Tim's got something to say. I don't know what he's got to say, but he's got something to say.
I love the way you say Iowa. I love it.
I'm sorry. Everybody loves it somehow. Well, a lot of people correct me. So I like the Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes. I'm going to go the Hawkeyes at my 2. And because of their great quarterback, they always have a good quarterback somehow, some way. So, like I said earlier.
Yeah, and coming at 2 for me, I got Wisconsin. I got the Badgers. So a lot of the reasons in which you put, I think this is going to be a good team, and they usually are considering their division. And now, the wild card in this one could be Minnesota. They're the ones that could kind of uproot all this. PJ Fleck and company went and rowed the boat. Everybody remembers that. They could take a step forward. They could take a step back because I remember in 2 years ago they went forward. They had, what was it, 10-win season, and then last year didn't look so good. And now, how much of that was COVID? How much was it his team? Don't know. Again, I think Rashard Bateman opted out at some point. Their top wide receiver. So,
and their second wide receiver got lost to the NFL, which is Darby. So you lost both your wide receivers. So
yeah, absolutely. And so Minnesota could kind of have something to say about that. But as of right now, I think Wisconsin's just better than them and Northwestern. So I have Wisconsin coming in at 2 in the West.
Yeah, and then my 3rd seed, I got Northwestern. Somehow, some way, they're always competitive in the West. Somehow. We don't know how. It may be that strength and conditioning coach that, literally wears a short sleeve shirt in 2-degree weather.
Yeah.
It could be him. And, that may be the reason why they're always competitive. But I like them at my 3 spot. I just don't see anything else in these teams below them that make me go, yeah, they're better than Northwestern. So I got to put Northwestern at my 3.
I actually have to agree with you. I think that they're over Minnesota as well. I had them at the 3rd spot. Again, they won the West last year, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them at top. To be honest with you, any of the teams of the top 4 rearranged, I wouldn't be surprised to see Minnesota at the top this year.
Yeah.
Just because of how crazy and wide open this division really is. And that's not really from a standpoint of how good the football is. It's just everybody kind of likes to play that, defense, run the football type mentality. That with the exception of Minnesota, really in that group, even though they're really good at running the football themselves. I think Northwestern defense really is going to carry them this year. That in their games against Iowa and Wisconsin, that's going to be the big factor for them. Can their defense keep it in the game, and can their offense just produce enough? That's really all their offense has got to do. Be able to produce enough points and put points up on the scoreboard, and their defense is going to take care of that, to take care of business on their side of the ball, especially in this division. So I think Northwestern finishes top 3. I think they lose very close games to Iowa and Wisconsin, though.
Yeah. All right, my 4 is Minnesota. Like you said earlier, I could see any of these 4 teams really winning the West. But right now, they had a down year last year with their top wide receiver Bateman not playing, Darby now to the NFL. You're going to lose a lot on that wide receiving core. So I think to build that back up probably takes another year. So I got to put Minnesota at my 4 just based off that reason of losing a lot of talent at that wide receiver position. Their defense will still be good. Their quarterback, I think, returns for year 3, if I'm correct. So I think they'll be up there in the top to middle of this West side. So I got to put Minnesota at my 4.
Yeah, I have Minnesota at the 4 spot as well. Again, I love PJ Fleck, man. I think he could really make something this year.
Row the boat gently down the street.
I'm going to have for the podcast. Anybody that wants to listen back, we need to make that a music going into this. Going into that week.
Oh yeah.
My gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
as we talk about PJ Fleck, just think of row the boat. All right.
I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head now. Thank you very much. So Minnesota and the Golden Gophers. I really think that this team has capability of winning this side of the Big Ten. I really do. It's really going to depend on their defense because their defense was atrocious last year.
Yeah.
Especially in their games against the top 3 teams, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Northwestern. It just wasn't there. And I believe that they gave up a whole bunch of points to Maryland as well. I mean, Maryland side that was okay on offense, not great. So they're going to have to clean that up. They're going to have to did Moses Ibrahim go to the NFL? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was their top running back. Again, if they lose him, I need to check to make sure because I'm not sure. I think he went to the draft, but I'm not sure on that.
I think he may. If he did, he went as an undrafted. I don't think he got drafted. I don't think so.
Okay, because he was their top offensive weapon last year, and it wasn't really close.
Yeah.
So if he's gone, they're going to have to find a way to replace him. Again, there's potential there for Minnesota, but again, it's going to show just how well PJ Fleck has recruited. That's really and truly what we're going to have to find out. How well can this man recruit? I mean, he's a great leader of men. We saw that at Western Michigan. We saw that. But so we already know that.
Yeah, and he can lead programs.
Does he have the talent, and can he recruit the talent?
Yeah, he can lead programs in the right direction. It's just that it takes time. It takes the right talent to recruit. And especially in Minnesota, it may be a little bit harder to recruit guys to come up and play in snow almost every single season versus coming down to playing in God knows what kind of weather we have down here in Georgia and South Carolina.
I mean, where would you rather play? Up in Minnesota or down in Miami or in the South? Anywhere in the South, actually.
To be honest, I'll be honest. I'd rather play in Miami.
I think I know. That was more of a rhetorical question.
Yes. I mean, I'll be honest. Some people are cold-natured and they like being cold. So don't get those people fooled up. All right.
You're right. I forgot. We are very inclusive here.
Yes. We're not thinking about those cold-natured people.
And get them out of here.
Anyway, my next one. I saved this joke for this.
Oh boy.
I'm going to go with Little Big Red and their ugly uniforms that got revealed this week.
Say what?
And their ugly uniforms that got revealed this week. I don't know if you saw that.
Who's
Nebraska.
Oh, the Cornhuskers. I thought you were about to make a corn joke. I realized, he's going to make a corn joke, and I'm like, especially related to what happened in MLB last night with the Field of Dreams, field, which was awesome, by the way. That was fantastic. Fantastic. But I really thought you were about to make a corn joke.
No, I'm surprised. That's a good one. I didn't even think about the corn joke. But if you haven't seen these people's uniforms that they're supposedly going to wear this year against, I think it's Ohio State. Oh my gosh, you got to go look at them. They're ugly. It looks like somebody that came out in 2013, like for college football on the video game. It looks like they tried to come up with something random. Like it's their big inflatable mascot, Little Red, and it's literally like a white undershirt with like a red overall, and that's literally what the jersey design looks like. Absolutely ugly. And that's the best way I can put it. But anyway, I got them coming in at my 5 spot. They say Nebraska's back. I just haven't seen it with Scott Frost. I don't know. I don't know what more I need to see from Scott Frost for me to go, yeah, Nebraska's back. I just don't see anything that leads or points in that direction. Now, are they the worst team in the West? No. But, they're not back. Let's just put it that way. So I got to put them down there at my 5.
Yeah, I got him at 5 as well, and I think this is going to be Scott Frost's last year.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't think Scott Frost is going to survive because everything that he did at UCF, everybody was like, oh, he's going to come over here and he's going to have success, and it just hasn't quite panned out that way. And it's Nebraska football. It's kind of like Miami back, what was it, 3 decades ago, back when Nebraska was like really, really good.
Yeah, 95,
Everybody's like,
90s.
We're trying to reclaim that glory. It's like, guys, you haven't been good for 3 decades.
Yeah,
you guys used to be monsters. You aren't now. I mean, again, you're not just going to hire a coach. So I wish they need to hire a rebuilder. And you would think Scott Frost would be that because that's what he did. UCF took them from a winless season to 500, and then the year after that took them to an undefeated season and self-proclaimed national championship.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I think that they need to stick with him. Let him get the guys in there. Let him adjust stuff. But I don't think they're going to have that kind of patience just because it's kind of like Texas, but only on a lesser scale. They're not very patient there. They're not. They're a lot more patient than Texas is. Don't get me wrong. But I think they're still living in their glory days. And like, we are Nebraska. It's like, guys, that means nothing. You and I were not born the last time Nebraska was really good in football.
1995 was the last year they were good in football, if I'm correct, because that's the last time they won a national title. They were good in the 90s.
I was born in 97. I was born in 97. I wasn't alive yet. Were you? I don't think you weren't alive.
1990 was the year that they tied Georgia Tech supposedly for the national championship. I think 95 was if I'm correct, was their last official good year. Now they had a couple like decent seasons in the late 90s, but it wasn't nothing where you were like Nebraska football, like you just it wasn't anything like it was from 90 to 95.
The decline.
Yeah. So, but yeah. My next one is the Boilermakers. First off, I don't know who came up with the name Boilermakers. But
I think it's Boilermakers, isn't it? Is it?
I don't know, but
I'm grasping at straws. Sorry.
I mean, this train ain't gonna be chugging all year long. So let's just be real. Their best player's gone for the NFL now, and number 4, I forgot his name. I can see exactly who it is, but he's not there anymore. There's nothing left in the Boilermakers, so I got to put them down at my 6.
You remember when Jeff Brom was a highly sought after name, especially when he beat Ohio State? Was it 52-20? Remember when?
Yes, I remember that, and everybody was like, "Yes."
Yeah, I'm turning down jobs because I can make something here at Purdue. How did that turn out?
But I will say that was a good year for them, especially for the reason that they won it. So, I mean,
that's why it's like he's like, I turned down that job, and it's like, buddy, that was the worst idea you could have ever had.
It's like, I understand that you love your school, but you also got to understand, do you love your life?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you want to stay there and be average and then occasionally upset a big name like Ohio State or Penn State?
Once or twice?
Yeah, or are you going to go to some other school and try to get a better job, to try to get somewhere to a school that has more potential? Yeah. And he didn't do that. He tried to stick it out, and it looks like he's going to sink with the ship.
Yep. So, do you have them at your 6 as well?
I do, and then I think we both have Illinois at the bottom, just because Illinois is trash. I mean, there's just no other way to put it, man.
I love how he straight up says it. He's just like, they're trash.
I mean, they're trash. I mean, I don't think the Rutgers bad, but then again, at least Rutgers has hope. They have a former coach that actually did something the last time he was there a decade ago. So there's a little bit of hope there for Rutgers. Illinois, what is there to look forward to? I mean, there's nothing. I mean,
there are only two wins that they had last year was Rutgers and Nebraska. That was their only two wins last year. And I mean, both of them were close. They beat Rutgers 23-20. But then they actually beat Nebraska by a good margin, 41-23. That's really the only two. Nebraska. Now, I will say they had the upset. I think it was 2 years ago over Penn State. I think so.
I remember that. Yeah, they had like a 50-something yard field goal to win it. It was crazy. Yeah, but
it's just exactly like what we said with Purdue. Like, you can have a upset once or twice a year, but that's it. That's all you have to show. Like last year, their upset supposedly was against Nebraska. So, do you really want to be the school that's always upsetting people, or do you just want to be the school that's consistently winning? And that's not Illinois. So, I mean, I got to put them at the bottom too. So.
Hey, I'll give it to them. They're consistently losers.
That's true. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, real quick, who you got winning it all? Big Ten. I think we both have the same answer for this. Until proven otherwise, I got Ohio State. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it will be close, but I still got Ohio State.
Should I do it, Ben? Should I do it?
I'm not.
Should I do my Tennessee moment here?
You know what? We are recording now.
Give me the Hawkeyes, and I want you to put this on Instagram. I am taking the Iowa Hawkeyes to upset the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm going out there. I believe Iowa. I'm taking back what I said. I think Iowa will win the Big Ten, and they will knock off the Buckeyes in the championship game. Mark it down. I think that they'll have the right game plan. I think that the way that they play, their defense will be sound that day. Again, question marks with Ohio State quarterback. Again, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be good, but I think Iowa on this day is going to pull it out in a close one. So give me the Iowa Hawkeyes to win the Big Ten, Ben.
Hold on. What's today, the 13th?
Today's the 13th.
Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Tim, I don't know if people can see this.
Screenshot.
Tim picked Iowa to beat Ohio State on August the 13th of 2021. All right?
You should take a screenshot of this and post it.
Yes. If you can't see this on the podcast, you're going to have to go back and watch. We'll post it on Instagram and stuff. But this is Tim's prediction. And so that means Ohio State does not make the college football playoff, too. That is what Tim is saying right here.
I didn't say that.
Okay. So does Iowa make it?
I didn't say that either.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll have to figure out later on when we get to our college football.
Because you know how these things work, man. They'll put Ohio State in it, and they could still leave Iowa out because Iowa will have 2 losses. They just somehow got into the championship game because everybody else had 3 or more. So
there we go. There's Tim's breakdown in a short period of time. All right.
Yeah, and my breakdown is that all heck would break loose. So
that's true. That's true. When we come back, we're going to be breaking down another crazy thing. That's called the NL East. We'll break that down in just a short minute. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into the Sideline Sports Show, August 13th edition. And Ben, we're getting close to October baseball. We're about a month and a half away. And the biggest storyline really and truly going on right now is the NL East. Oh, well, divisions-wise. Obviously, the Field of Dreams game last night between the White Sox and Yankees is the top everybody's talking about right now. But division-wise, the NL East, man, it's crazy. There's 3 teams within 1 game of first place.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. It's unbelievable. And honestly, the way things stand right now, the Phillies have the advantage because as of right now, throughout the entire league, they have the easiest remaining schedule left. Now, they had the Dodgers this past week, and they have the Reds this weekend. So, but after that, things definitely get a whole lot easier for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, and I think that's the best thing with them. Just to, like you mentioned, they have the Dodgers, then they have the Reds. But then, I mean, just listen to these teams. The Diamondbacks, which they should easily win that series. Padres, I think, will be a tough series for them. The Rays, which will be, it's only 2 games, but it will be a competitive series. And then they finish off with the Diamondbacks and Nationals. And you just look and it's like, okay, they have an easier schedule than the Mets or the Braves. The Braves, on the other hand, they got the Nationals starting tonight, the Marlins, the Orioles, the Yankees, the Giants, and then the Dodgers. The Giants and Dodgers to finish out will be rough, especially if it comes into crunch time, because these two teams right here have been very, very competitive all year long. And, for the Braves to end with that, it will be very tough. And I think the Braves, what they're going to have to do if they want to win it all, well, the NL East, not all, but if they want to win the NL East, then they got to win as many games as they can right now before they get to those 2 series, because the Giants and the Dodgers have just been playing unbelievable. So, and then the Mets, just without Jacob deGrom, I just don't see it, and their bats aren't working right now. I don't know what the world's going on with them, but they're just not
and
playing
Javi Baez
competitive.
is striking out like 5 times every game. I mean,
Exactly.
he literally struck out 5 times in a game against the Marlins last week.
Yeah.
I mean, that lineup's struggling for sure. Now they may have woken things up, against the Nationals, but I mean, who knows, man? It'll be interesting to see where they go from here.
Yeah, and then they probably have the hardest schedule remaining out of everybody else. They got the Dodgers starting tonight, the Giants, then they got the Dodgers again, and then they got the Giants again. And then they got the Nationals, and then 1 game against the Marlins to finish the year. And
can you imagine, though, being a Mets fan right now and going, are you kidding me? Like, the Phillies have the easiest schedule left. They have the easiest schedule left. And we have 13 straight games against 2 teams that have over 130-something combined wins already at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
ugh.
I mean,
good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that one. And without Jacob deGrom, so.
Yeah, you don't have Jacob deGrom, which, by the way, another all-star for the pitcher for them, Taijuan Walker, has just not pitched good at all. Neither has Marcus Stroman. I mean, these guys have just been horrible on the mound. And then you get Javi Baez not doing anything offensively to help your team after being traded, other than hitting a home run in his first game for the Mets. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing that Javi Baez has done to help this Mets team or this Mets offense. But for the Braves, they added a good addition to their outfield, which we mentioned a couple weeks ago, which is what I said they needed. They added one reliever, and that was it. And I think that honestly kind of played a little bit of a role, especially with Will Smith in the 9th inning. I'm telling you, Will Smith wants me to grab my couch every single night when he's giving me anxiety. Like, as soon as he steps on the mound, I'm like, crap, here we go again. Is he going to blow it, or is he actually going to help the Braves win it? And that's just not something you need right now, especially in these games where you're up. And, just like the other night when Ozzie Albies walked it off, the Braves were up 5-0. The Braves were up 5-0 or 5-2 at this point. And he comes in and allows 3 runs, and the Reds tie it. And luckily, Ozzie Albies walked it off.
Yeah, definitely. And yet they added Rodriguez, and he's been a decent pickup for sure. And that might be consideration to replace Will Smith. And you're right; it's definitely like, oh boy, buckle your seatbelt. Don't know what's going to happen when Will Smith is in there. Definitely, it's going to be challenging for the Braves. They got these games coming up. They're going to have to go out west and play these teams. I don't think they've had a West Coast trip all year yet, which is strange when we're mid-August. But yeah, the Braves, it's going to be tough. Just because, you don't have Acuna out there. You don't have some of your pitching. Your starters are going to have to give you more than what some of them have done. They've been better. Smiley, Morton, and Fried have actually been a lot better, which is why the Braves are, 3 games over 500 right now?
Yeah.
So they've been better. And again, Kyle Muller didn't give you a good start at all yesterday, and he got sent down to Gwinnett, which is probably something that needed to happen just so we can get down there and get his confidence back up. he's a good pitcher, and he's going to be a fine pitcher for the Braves. He just got to get his stuff in check. And you could tell something was off with him yesterday. His velo was down a good 3 miles per hour, throwing about 91, 92 instead of 94, 95, which is what he can throw. It just felt like he wasn't fooling anybody up there, especially with this breaking ball. And you talked about Will Smith. Yeah, he's going to have to absolutely be better. And I saw something the other day. Joey Votto was talking to his teammates and saying, hey, Will Smith is tipping his pitches. He does this when he throws a breaking ball. He does this when he throws a fastball. And those of you who don't know, tipping pitch, it's a lot of these hitters look for little things to kind of tip them off. Like some guys drop their shoulders sometimes whenever they're throwing an off-speed pitch or a breaking ball. It's just stuff like that because these guys compete at such a high level and the ball comes in so fast that you look for anything that you can get. So when you see stuff like that, you're basically making it easier for the hitter to be able to hit it. And a professional hitter like Joey Votto recognizes that. And sure enough, what did he do? He teed off on it, and he tied the game up with a 2-run home run. So, again, that's something for Will Smith to work on. And in the meantime, it might be time to get that Rodriguez guy in there that we acquired in a trade from Pittsburgh. It's getting pretty close to where they need that. To that, just because you can't afford to be living life on your seat of your pants throughout the entire 27 outs. You're just not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to sustain this. You're not going to be able to keep up in this division. Again, especially considering the Phillies have the easiest schedule remaining. I mean, you're just not going to be able to do that. The Mets, I think, are going to fade. I think it's just ultimately, unless their offense wakes up and they go probably 7-6 or 8-5 in this 13-game stretch, which is I don't expect them to do that at all, considering that it's the two best teams in the National League right now. I consider the Mets are probably going to fall off unless they get lucky and the Phillies and Braves go on some losing streaks at a bad time. But I think the Mets will fall off. So I think this is really a 2-horse race, in my opinion. I think after these next 2 weeks or so, we're really going to find out where this division stands.
Well, saying that, who do you have winning the NL East by the time October rolls around? Like you've said, it's going to be very, very close. And all these teams have good talent on their roster. They helped each other at the trade deadline by trying to boost their rosters up. Javi Baez obviously going to the Mets. Braves getting Jock Peterson, Adam Duvall, and a couple other guys like Soler, Rodriguez. And then the Phillies just, being the same old Phillies, adding a couple of pieces to their roster as well. So who do you got winning the NL East by the time October rolls around?
I want to say the Braves with all my heart. I really want to say the Braves. But, man, it's too hard to discount the Phillies. And the Braves just, to me, don't have enough consistency in terms of offense and pitching staff in the bullpen. I think the Braves could get hot, and I think that they're going to have to, at least, I should say, just because the Phillies are again, as long as the Phillies take care of their business, because they've got so many teams coming up that are below 500. It's insane. It's ridiculous. But this is why they play the game of baseball on the field. So it could go either way. But if I have to say on August 13th, I think the Phillies are going to win, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think based off of the rest of these team schedules, based off the talent that they have now, I would, and it's like you said, I'd love to say the Braves. And they can get hot. They can go on a massive run and just tear through the rest of their schedule. But if you look at it right now on August 13th of 2021, it looks like the Phillies could run away with the NL East. And it's not because they have the better team. It's not because and I think I don't care who wins the NL East. I think they're out first round. None of them have really been any slight to competitive, and they'll probably play somebody from the West Coast in the first round.
It'll probably be someone from the Central, so the Brewers, most likely, just the way it sets up.
Yeah. So, and I don't think there's a team right now that would beat the Brewers.
I don't know. I think the Phillies and Braves could do it. The Mets, if their bats would wake up, but I don't think they will.
Yeah.
But I think that could be a good series. I I really do. Corbin Burns for Milwaukee is absolutely on fire right now.
Yeah.
Then again, how much of that was the Cubs? So,
Yeah.
you never know. But, yeah, as of right now, Stan, I like the Phillies. I think this is going to be an interesting race for sure. And, three-team race right now. That's crazy. You got a tight division when the third-place team is only one game behind the leaders.
That's true. That's true. All right, Tim, that is all the time that we have for today. As you always know, make sure to follow us on Facebook at the Sideline Sports Show or Sideline Sports Show. You can look it up either way. On Instagram at Sideline Sports Show or our YouTube page. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got a point. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Subscribe to our YouTube page at Sideline Sports Show. And I don't have the graphic for it, unfortunately. But you can follow us now on Twitter. It's Sideline SP Show because SP stands for sports. But you can follow us on there as well. It's our brand new Twitter page, which helps us get somebody next week that we will not reveal until next week. So we are so excited.
You're going to leave them with the cliffhanger, Ben?
Yeah, we're going to leave them with the cliffhanger.
Yep. Yeah, guys, make sure you guys tune in to next week. Ben was able to grab this guest, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it, absolutely. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. We'll see y'all next week. Make sure to go follow us and all that, and we will be back next week. Tim, have a great week. We will see all of you guys next Thursday.